Coming up on this episode of the Village Idiom.
He stole hay? Have you heard this?
No, is this a joke?
He stole hay, and then he arrested, jailed, but and couldn't make bail.
There it is.
Village Idiom.
Hello, and welcome to the Village Idiom.
We are a podcast that every week chooses a popular saying to take a shallow but hopefully comedic and once in a while even interesting dive into its meaning, its usage, its origins. But we're also going to use it to hang our otherwise directionless conversation on.
Oh, yeah.
My name is Jurassic Mark.
You know what time it is. It's business time.
Skinny, welcome back for another week of the Village Idioms.
We're getting down to business here.
You
got to do it now.
Make hay while the sun is still shining.
Exactly.
There it is. You recognize that voice?
No, you have to play it. You'd have to play it again.
Make hay while the sun is still shining.
No, it has a hint of the Bob Odenkirk.
Nailed it.
Is it?
It's Breaking Bad, yeah.
Okay. That's funny.
Nailed it. Breaking Bad, scene from Breaking Bad. So yeah, that's today's idiom. Make hay while the sun.
You got to do it while you can do it.
That's what it means. If you make hay while the sun shines, it means you take advantage of a chance or an opportunity to do something while the conditions are suited.
Sometimes things seem like a good idea at the time because there's the guy who stole. He stole hay. Have you heard this?
No, is this a joke?
Stole hay, and then he arrested, jailed, but and couldn't make bail.
There it is.
Could you tell? I was giving it away with my face a little bit.
And he must have been grasping at straw.
Yeah, exactly.
Grasping at straw.
I got it.
Okay, I just didn't see the connection.
It's good.
That's good. I'm like, is this a joke? Is this a joke? We back in the touring days when we were on the road and you're in mid US or prairie land Canada and it's just miles and hours of driving and seeing nothing.
There's a lot of nothing out.
There's a lot of hay fields, and every time they were rolled up or baled up, it never got old. An hour would go by and you'd go, hey. People would perk up, look up. What? Oh, man, for the love.
We did a road trip to Alberta through the Rockies and whatnot in 2017. And just randomly, just bored, be like, knock, knock. Oh, sorry.
Who's there? What's happening right now?
Sorry. I was in a mind flashback and then I went back. And it was a totally different joke. I was talking about an entirely different thing.
I'm so confused right now.
It wasn't the knock knock one. It was the I spy with my little eye something that is green.
But you're in the Rockies?
Yes, we're in the middle of the Rockies.
That's funny.
Yeah, the knock knock one is a different one.
In case you haven't visited the Rockies or the Pacific Northwest, everything is green.
You just blurt that out on occasion. I spy with my little eye something that's green.
It's actually, you forget I'm going to call it a luxury we have to live where we have, where everything is green year round, until you do weeks or months of traveling through winter wonderland or even just the dry brown summer, and then you come back into British Columbia and it's like the colorization of the Wizard of Oz.
It's a rainforest. It's beautiful.
It's amazing, and you forget it because you live here. You're like, oh yeah, I see mountains every single day. You don't think about it until you leave it.
You stop getting used to it, but enjoy it now while you can.
Let's drive it home already. Make hay.
Make hay while the sun shines.
Have you ever made hay?
No.
Okay, so we always have weird questions like, have you ever done this related to our idiom? And I'm like, have you ever made hay? I'm like, oh, wait a minute. My grandpa, who was a pastor his whole life, had, side things on the go. And one thing I remember about visiting him, this is in central Washington state, and he had an alfalfa field. So it was very low management. He had to roll out irrigation and stuff like that. In the end, I think he had other people hired to do that.
Sure.
I think for a while he had an apple orchard on a different thing, but it was always something like that. And I was always like, what do you do with alfalfa? Like,
because it wasn't popular as a thing, or
just as a kid, I'm like, I don't.
We don't eat it much.
What are we making here?
Right.
Like, can I go out and pick some? Sure.
You're gonna hear
Anyway, it was baled up and sold. Most of what he did was baled up for like horses and whatever. I know alfalfa has other purposes, but yeah, he made hay.
it. That's pretty interesting.
Alfalfa. Is that still hay?
I don't know.
What is hay? Is hay like...
Does it have to be like a wheat type thing, or
Is it wheat?
straw? I don't know. It's a great question. Can you
Hey,
just-
Google. What is hay made of?
What's
On the website
Wheat.
lhf.org, they say, hay is made from the stems, leaves, and seed heads of plants that are fresh. It is cut and baled when it has the most
Seems pretty
nutritional
generic.
value and is fed to livestock.
So it sounds like all those things could
So
be
anything.
hay.
So maybe you take the part of wheat that makes
Is it like a barley bale or a wheat
it's
bale?
the stems of wheat. So you use wheat
Take the wheat part, and then the other part is just hay.
chaff.
What?
I don't know.
No, yeah. So the non part that we eat. So we would eat the grains off of the wheat,
And
but
we
the
give
rest.
the horses and the cattle the
hay.
hay. It's kind of like we only want the muffin top and we give the bottom to like why don't I get the
That's for the
why
horses.
don't I get the good why don't I get the good stuff? That's my horse voice.
So you're referring to like that the muffin top is like the grain of
Yeah,
wheat,
yeah.
and then we would give the horses
Did you
the
ever
bottoms.
see you know the Seinfeld episode Muffin Top? Not Muffin. Yeah, Muffin Tops, where they're like that's the only good part, so they make a whole restaurant like Muffin Tops.
Okay.
because that's the only part people like. Like the bottom is
That's hilarious.
And they're like, well, what do we do with the bottoms? What do we do with the bottoms? And so they started giving them out to homeless, thinking they're doing a good thing. But then it turned into this like, oh, the homeless aren't good enough for muffin tops. Like,
That's awesome.
yeah, turned the whole thing. So
Of course.
that's what hay is. Hay is the muffin bottom.
Well, when I think of more and more,
Ons.
yeah, I started into the Googles. I was like, what in terms of like the hay and what do you do when the sun shines? And I'm like, when the sun shines, because it's really the weather's starting to turn around here and it's already getting beautiful. And I type in, so make hay when the sun shines. Like, what else you doing? The sun shines. And as soon as I put in the sun shines, Google auto-filled in the sun shines on a dog's arse twice a day.
There's another idiom.
I'm like, this isn't in my search history.
I think that's I think that's on our list of idioms to cover one day.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
The sun shines twice on a dog's arse.
Yeah, I don't remember the arse part of it, but
I just thought that was
sun shines
funny.
on. Yeah,
And that's spelled ARSE. I didn't. This is all these new
it
things.
actually. Oh, you're not like cleaning it up here.
No. It was like
that's funny.
That's how it spelled it out. Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
funny.
like,
I think it
cracked me
has. I think it has something to do with like, kind of like even a clock's right twice a day or whatever. That
Yeah. Well, this whole idiom is like
lazy dog laying in the living room as the sun passes by.
sure.
I don't know.
This one, strike the iron while it's hot.
Yeah.
Yeah, got to do it. Do something now while you can do it. It's like if you ever tried to mow like wet grass, it's like you can do it. It just sucks.
I think it's funny people who like we could have one of the reasons we're green all year round is the amount of rain we get. And so we could have weeks of rain and one sunny day and you have neighbors out washing their cars. And I'm like, why? That one I don't get. Like, make hay while the sun shines. Oh, okay, the sun's out. I'm going to wash my car. It's going to rain tomorrow.
It's like it's got to be. When I see a dry day, I'm like, I wonder if it'd be dry again tomorrow, so I could mow the lawn.
Right. Yeah. You got to have dry grass.
Yeah, mowing
I was
wet
trying-
grass is brutal.
I was trying to think of
clogs up.
the idiom, the figurative version of what we're talking about today. Like, have I ever had, like, has anything ever just, the planets align kind of moment in my life where I'm like, I have to do this right now. Like, this is the only chance I'm going to get. And the only example I could think of, it wasn't like now, let's go now, go, go, go.
Oh, I've got an example for you.
The only thing I could think of was my music days. Like when you're 20 years old, it didn't matter if we made a dime. We're all living in our parents' basements, if not still in our bedroom we grew up in. And so you could tour and come back having made nothing because it was worth the risk of maybe we'll make it big.
Sure.
And it was just like, now's the time. And it had to do with age.
Make.Hay.While.The.Sun.Shines.
And I've said that to young people now, like whether they're asking like, hey, how did you get into the music? I'm like, go now. Say yes to everything.
Yes.
Go. You're 19. Go.
So there's that
Do it.
that YouTube channel like Yes Theory, where it's the attempt to try excuse me and try and do like say yes, like something bizarre, say yes to it. And what came to mind, we may have talked about this briefly at another point, was when
I'm going to interrupt you for one second.
When it came to town,
because we both just did something at the same time. We did a little side burp, and it's podcast. Who cares? But I had a comment just this week. So I was watching on YouTube, and everyone, like, you guys always have a pop, and like, do you know you're on film? Because I saw Skinny lean to the right and just. I'm like, yeah, we know. It is what it is.
We just don't care. It's like being invited into our living room.
Yeah, this is you're lucky we got shirts on.
Exactly. Be thankful.
Sorry,
be thankful.
Continue.
So, anyways, there is this old story. However, it ends up working with Saint Francis Xavier.
Okay.
And when he was a missionary in India and passed on, and his body, and they put lime on his body to speed up the decomposition, and his body wouldn't decompose.
Oh, is this what?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And so
I didn't recognize the name at first.
And so, as it turns out, through the course of things, they separated his arm from his body, and his arm does a tour throughout the world, the incorruptible arm of Saint Francis Xavier.
Right, because the miracle was posthumous miracle was that his body will not.
His body wouldn't decompose.
Yeah.
And so his arm does a tour. And so we were like, someone had brought this up, and it was like, oh, that's crazy. And it's like, it's in town. It's going to be in town. The arm is doing a tour, and it's actually only going to be like 10 kilometers away. We got to go and see this arm. And so we packed up. It was at this Catholic church. And so we like drove on over, snowy day, and we had to go through like all this little processional and learn about the arm, and it was a first class relic.
It was much more.
It was in a glass case.
Yeah, you couldn't touch the.
No, but so the arm is a first class relic, a spiritual.
Yeah, I can't remember how this worked.
The case surrounding the arm is a second class relic. And then you could touch something to the case, and that became a third class relic, which sounds very much like we're playing D&D right now. For fighting demons, you just need a third class relic. But if we have 2 third class relics, and there is no fourth class, it was third class.
It was an
relic.
interesting day.
And so we went and visited the case and touched the case with the dead arm.
And it was interesting what surrounded it. Like, they had guards and priests, and some people believing in miracles in their own life just by touching this glass case.
Yeah.
And it was real, and it was a much more serene thing than I thought we were going to.
It was like no filming and no, like, all just super somber and this respected, and it's like, but just say it from the outside that, hey man, there's going to be an arm in the next municipality. We got to get in the car. We got to go and get this. This is our chance to go see the arm.
Yeah.
And it sounds so stupid.
That's the opinion.
But you got to do it now.
Yeah, that's a great example of Make.Hay.While.The.Sun.Shines. It's like, it's now. Do you want to go?
You want to go see the arm? The incorruptible arm?
It's right now. Let's go. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
And weird.
And like getting advice. What I thought was weird is like when the arm, and then it like turned sideways and made like the little cup, and it was like, and it was giving people advice like this, like the little thumb moving, making a hand motion, making little mouth motions.
This is why you need YouTube, not podcast, for the actions.
It's hard to describe this.
Okay. It's all right.
It's all right. Yeah, so going to visit the arm
of St. Francis. Was it St. Francis Xavier?
Yes, I believe it was St. Francis Xavier.
Okay. Yeah.
You just got to do it now.
Yeah. I feel like there's been a few of those with you in my life.
We got to go do this.
This is happening right now. I've got some work no, we got to go right now.
Yeah. Another one that comes to mind is like the mighty river in our area is the Fraser before it empties out into the ocean. And we live pretty close to that.
Yeah, we cross it daily, practically.
And so it was like, was it before work? It's like, we got to go get this geocache out on an island in the middle of the Fraser River.
Yeah.
And loading into a dinghy. I've got a dinghy. Okay, we can do this. We can do this right now. We can get it done.
Definitely
before
not
work.
The mode of transport you should choose for the Fraser River.
No, I don't even know what a comparison would be. It'd be like, we're going to cross the Niagara, or like, yeah, it's ridiculous.
It's not like Whitecaps right there.
No, but
it is moving.
Yeah, it's got to be half a kilometer wide. and rushing.
Yeah.
It's enormous. It's the river.
We got yelled at by people who know better.
Yeah, you're taking your life in your hands. Oh well.
Oh well. We didn't.
Yeah, we just gotta.
We made it.
You gotta make
we
hay.
Made
While
hay.
Gotta make hay while the sun shines. We gotta do this. This is the time.
That's
I
it.
have a dinghy. We have an hour. Let's cross the Fraser in this dinghy.
See, at least I know we've told it on here before, but at least we didn't capsize like your other trip doing something similar. But
No, we're way smarter now.
that's it. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah. So
Well, how you feeling?
I'm thinking we should get into a little bit of where this came from before we run out of time.
Words, where'd they go? Where'd they go? No one can know. I turned around and looked behind. Those words came from another mind.
Oh. Yeah, let me ask you something about doing this podcast. Let's say we had half the listeners. Would you still do this with me?
We've said it we just do it for us, and then whatever
Let's say
happens
we
along
had
the way.
less than 10 listeners.
Sure.
Less than 5? Would you spare the city for less than 5 listeners?
It's you and I, and whatever happens after that is what happens.
Exactly. All right. Well, you'll be happy to know that this one kicks off right with hundreds of years ago. It would take many days for farmers to cut, dry, and gather hay. Today, modern technology, weather forecasting, much easier to make hay. Since hay can be ruined easily if it gets wet, medieval farmers had to take advantage of hot, dry, sunny summer. It's exactly what it sounds like. You make hay while the sun shines. It's just common sense to the farmer. So this saying has been around for hundreds of years, as old as making hay is, and it first appeared in
Dun, dun, dun.
1546. John Haywood's
That guy just raked it in from collecting idioms.
The Compiling of Proverbs, a dialogue containing this is his quote. So in Old English, a dialogue containing the number in effect. It's hard to read these.
Containing.
Number in effect of all the proverbs in the English tongue. Experts believe the phrase came from medieval English farmers, though. But John Haywood was the first one to put it in print. He's the man when it comes to putting these things down in ink.
Well, the iron's hot. Carpe diem. Make hay. Make hay while the sun shines.
Make Haywood while the sun shines. Like he kind of did. Like
Right.
what? Nobody's written this.
He's making John Haywood.
Nobody's written this stuff down. I'm gonna write this down.
Someone's got to do
We
this.
have a mutual friend who compiles similar things and puts books out.
Yeah.
Like several books, and they're popular. And it's kind of like famous quotes, right? That he's compiled. Are they themed? I think so. This book is.
he puts a thing, a story around it or some general. But yeah, he's got 7 or 8 books.
Yeah,
Soaring with the Eagles.
he's onto something. He's John Haywood of today. Like it's kind of smart. We're laughing at John Haywood, but it's brilliant.
Well,
He didn't have John Haywood didn't have to.
I'm trying to think what will be comparable today that's not already capitalized. It's like I put together a meme catalog or something, but
Right.
is it like that's stupid? No one's buying that.
Yeah,
But as recorded in Mark's meme catalog,
well, like the TV Guide back in the day, it didn't have to put out any TV shows. It just listed them all.
you curate other people's works and sell it.
Yeah, a museum. John Haywood was just a written museum.
Wow, that's deep.
Right.
Yeah, just ripping off other people's things.
Do you think-
and showing them?
Because I know if I were John Haywood,
He's the CG Barnum, the Barnum and PT Barnum, not the CG. That would be a character. He would be a
there is
graphic.
CG in the P.T. Barnum movie.
He's the PT Barnum. He takes all the sideshow thing, assembles a crew that people will come and pay for.
Huh.
We got another one?
So do you? If I were John Haywood, guaranteed I would do this. But I wonder if there's anything in his compilation of idioms, proverbs, and whatever that he just made up and slipped in. And people are like, I don't know that one.
Have you heard that thing though with dictionaries that slip in fake ones?
I know that there's map makers that have done that.
Sure, these types of things that will use the fake one to to show their authenticity. This one's mine.
Oh, yeah.
I slipped this fake thing in. I made that up. This is fake.
So if they see it in
So if you
something
see it
else,
somewhere else, yeah,
you rip
you ripped it
me off. Yeah, totally. Anyway, I just wonder how many idioms or proverbs are in his book that he's like, let's see if this catches on. So a similar notion is expressed in the Bible. In Proverbs 10:5, it says, "He that gathereth in summer is a wise son, but he that sleepeth in harvest," this is King James Version of the Bible, "He that gathereth in summer is a wise son, but he that sleepeth in harvest is a son that causeth shame." So very similar in meaning, but not as opportunistic. Like it was more, I think it's more talking about, being a slothful type person than anything else. But they don't really think that the Bible verse is what spurred on the idiom. They think it just comes from farming, but there's a theme there. And the Bible, there are some translations that does use the
paraphrase that.
Make.Hay while the sun shines, but not until after John Haywood's book.
Interesting.
Yeah, so they...
It's like the message version.
That's John Haywood going,
it's the 1600 message version.
Exactly. So anybody who coined the proverb in English was copying an idea from earlier versions of the Bible. It's not really proven, doesn't seem to be correct, but the only thing we know for sure is that the phrase originated, and even though it says we know this for sure, it doesn't really say how they know this for sure, but that it was originated in Tudor England. So there you go. That's kind of it. For
the part that I really like about that,
say make hay while the sun is shining.
The part that I really enjoy is that it's true, and I think a lot of people can identify with that. The most fun, interesting stories have happened by, I'm just going to do that. I'm going to go after this moment, and it's memorable, as opposed to just the humdrum. It's like, do you want to do X? And your initial reflexes are always like, not really. But then you're like, yeah, why not?
Yeah.
And then when you do it, you're like, that was awesome. Or more memorable, at least, than having done, like, I'm just going to go home again and watch TV. Or I'm going to, it's always the interesting thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had so many stories, like, particularly with some of, like, the hobbies, like, geocaching. There was, the big hoop was being the first to find
a new
geocache when it got put out, and it could get put out literally any time of day, within the 24 hours. So you get the call, it's like, it's 11 o'clock at night. It's like, I'm in bed already. It's like, there's a first to find. We got to solve 10 puzzles and drive to Chilliwack.
Those were more exciting.
And go through the woods.
It's
like,
one thing
it's
one thing for your phone to beep and you race out the door and you're the first to find, which I've done and been. But when it's like brand new thing and it's got 10 layers of puzzle to figure out, achieving those ones,
like, it's the first 2 hours that you spend puzzle doing.
It's pretty great. Sometimes days. You're like, has anybody found it? No, we're on to something. Like, we're really close.
Crack the code. Well, there's just something about, like, just that spontaneity of, like, should we do this? No. Like, this is a bad idea. You need to get sleep. You're going to be a zombie tomorrow. But it's like, in the end, it's like, what's it going to knock a few days off my life? Whatever.
Some of my favorite moments were, because I'm a night owl in general most of the time, until it catches up to me and I'm in bed at 8. But some of my favorite moments were when my two oldest boys were like late high school years, and I'd wake them up at 1 a.m. and just go, hey, want to go to Denny's right now? And we'd just go. School night, like.
That's awesome.
And they're like, yeah. And,
that's exactly what I want to do.
Yeah, and just to see the way they talk about it after the fact, I'm like, that was the right dad move. That was
definitely fun. You got to jump on those insane things.
Yeah.
And like, you make them happen. You got to make that hay while the sun is shining.
Yeah.
And if it's not shining yet, you just make hay.
Just make wet hay.
Get out there. Do something.
Well, that's all it is. Not much to the background, not much to the origins. John Haywood put it pen to paper. It comes from medieval farmers. That's the way the cookie crumbles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So there you go. Made hay with that one.
It's a good adventure. Well, let that be a little moral lesson out there to everyone. Make hay while the sun shines. Enjoy. Carpe diem. Strike when the iron is hot.
Bingo bango.
Yep. Get out there and do it. It's a good
Make
thing.
some hay. Chew that cud.
Put me in, coach. Thanks.
I do feel like I haven't made hay when the sun shines and have missed out on things, but I'm like, why didn't I do that when I had the chance?
Well, I had a fun one. It was like just like with business friends who had their work took them across country. And it's like, I'm going to be in Newfoundland for a week. All you got to do is get yourself out here. And I've got the
Food
room already covered and all the rest of it. You just got to get out here. Like, yeah, it's not going to, maybe if I took a day, I could only spend 24 hours out there. I wish I'd gone.
Exactly.
Like, what would it have mattered now in my life?
Yeah.
It didn't matter at all.
Well, we've been, as we get older.
Did you ever go to CES with us?
No. I picked you up. I took you to the airport and picked you up.
Okay. Yeah, we had a friend who's like, I've got a room in Vegas.
Because he was running a booth there or whatever,
with
right?
Roland, with the music company. And so he's like, I got everything's in and done. You just got to get yourself to Vegas. It's like, okay, here we go.
I was thinking about when we went to a conference together, and we had a friend with us who is a NASCAR freak, and we're like, oh, we're out in that area of the U.S. There's got to be and the only one was 8 hours from our conference. So it's like, so what? 16,
we drove through the night.
16 hours of driving there and back. Or I think we changed our flights, but yeah, we drove 8 hours
through the night
straight to sit and watch cars do 500 circles.
But that was awesome.
It was awesome.
Remember, it's like,
I don't care
I think
if
that we're in a new state right now. Let's. Is there a geocache here? Yeah, it's in a graveyard. Do you remember that?
Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're in a graveyard in the middle of the night looking for geocache. It's so stupid. Makes no sense.
Well, we are
gotta
running
make
out
that
of time, so let us take a stab at Riddlink. Riddlink is a game we like to play that is a two-part trivia-based question that requires a two-part but overlapping answer, overlapping by sound, syllable, or word, or words. So, for example, last week our idiom was knock on wood, and we left you with this one. You okay? Knock on wood. This superstitious way to not tempt fate in the forest is a party game that poses a dilemma in the form of a question where you have to choose just one. Did you get this one?
No, I was choking there.
You got it last week when we read it.
Start telling me again real quick.
Okay, this superstitious way to not tempt fate in the forest is also a party game that poses a dilemma in the form of a question where you have to choose one.
I can't remember.
Knock on wood, you rather.
There you go.
We had multiple right answers come in. Thank you for playing. I love seeing people reach out and that you're enjoying the game, the podcast, whatever. So we'll tell you in a minute how you can play along next time. But you got a couple ready for today?
I do. Absolutely. Let me go first. Do it while you can. 2 times on a K9's caboose.
Make hay while the sun shines on a dog. Oh no, has it? The sun shines twice a day on a dog's arse, or something like that. Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. Okay, I got one for you. I was torn as to which one to give you. I'll give you this one. Okay. Take advantage of the good weather and count to 3 in German.
Make hay while the sun shines weiß reis.
Yes.
Cool runnings. All right, here we go.
So good.
Okay, let me do another one.
You okay? Make hay, brother.
I wrote down idioms in the 1500s while terminating the undead in Zombieland.
Oh, is it John Hay, Woody Harrelson?
Yes.
Nice. At first, I was like, I don't know anything about zombies. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I know
Our Village Idiom children know this.
Okay, I got a good one for our Village Idiom children, but why don't you tell them how they can play along?
Please reach out to us on Instagram at the.village.idiom or email us thevillageidiompodcast@gmail.com, or whether it's Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter at 3 Minutes Gone.
All right, here it is. Pay attention. Take this farmer-driven idiom about opportunity and give it a nickname to Florida.
Okay.
All right?
Fair enough. That's a good one. And that is 3 Minutes Gone.
Bingo, bango. I don't know why I keep saying that today. Bingo, bango. I think that was 3 minutes gone. Way to keep it concise, brother.
Do it. That's how we do.
Yeah, that's what
how
we're
we
known
do.
for.
Yeah. Keeping on track. Well, it was fun putting today together. We hope you enjoyed it. I am Skinny.
I am Jurassic. Hey, Mark.
And these are the Village Idioms.
Oh, yeah.
We'll make hay while the sun shines.
Last 3 minutes gone.